Hey, Mo. Mo,
Hey, Keith.
you're back.
I'm back.
You were gone. I don't know what was wrong with you. The last episode was with Cheech.
I turned into Cheech. That's my other persona.
Okay, you're
I'm a successful lawyer who does stand up for fun.
you're slaying it.
I'm a slaying
You're
queen.
slaying it, Queen.
Yeah. It's like Jim Carrey in the Mask. Put the mask on. I turn into a beautiful Indian woman who's successful.
Well, I'm happy to have you back,
Thank
and
you.
I gotta hit you with a real tough question.
Oh, okay.
And I think I know you well enough where I think I know how you're gonna answer this, but maybe you'll surprise me.
If it's about my sex life, yes, I'm a bouncy house.
Okay, it is about driving. You're a guy. You're a cautious driver. You're
Very cautious. Driver.
maybe overly.
Hey,
But
I'm gonna live,
Classic. Better safe than sorry, right?
and I'm never sorry.
He's never been sorry. In his whole life. But no. When you're driving, how are you holding the steering wheel? Are you one of these guys that holds it right up top in the middle and drives down the road?
No, that's unsafe. That's how you die.
It's insane, right?
Two hands. Where
are you putting them?
I'm putting them
9 and 3?
9 and 3.
9 and 3 guy?
Right here.
Are you ever just a 6 o'clock guy?
When I'm stopped, usually I just put one hand.
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
But when I'm driving, two hands. My thing is, if you're one handing it, and it's a nice day, and you're on the main streets,
Yeah.
and it's like you're not going anywhere above 35 or whatever, that's fine. I'm not a loser. That's fine. You got a cruise car. If you have a car with the drop down, you just one hand.
Yeah.
That's fine. But like on the highway, one hand.
It's insane, right?
Or one hand on the bottom. At least one hand on top looks more in control than one hand on the bottom.
What's wrong with bottom?
Something about it. I don't know.
I think because you got it's down. You can't go any further. You're in control. Your hand's not gonna accidentally turn the wheel one side or the other if you slip. Like the guy doing
you can
this.
Hit your legs, you can hit something. I don't know. Like, because I think the closer you are to like your legs and you're moving stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, because
And don't get me wrong. If you have a stick, you have to do one hand. Like, in a sense, in most cases.
Well, if but where you're putting your one hand, basically what I'm saying is, if you're one handing it, I shouldn't be able to know. You know what? Your one hand shouldn't be on a part of the wheel where I can see it out of my rear view. Comprende?
Why are you looking into other people's cars, though?
Out of curiosity. I'm a curious little guy.
You're a curious little dude.
I'm just
Curious
looking
little
around.
George.
I am very curious. I gotta know. I'm nosy. I'm like, because you know what it is. You see someone driving down the road and you get you getting judgmental. Maybe the kind of car they drive. You're like, I bet this person sucks.
Yeah.
HRV
owners are assholes.
Whatever it is, whatever the vehicle choice is, you make judgments on people depending on what car they're driving, and maybe you're like, why is this guy tailgating me? Why is he right up there? Like, I'm already going 5 over, 10 over. Why you gotta be touching in my space?
Yeah,
so, and then I make the judgment. I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on with this guy. What's he driving? Can I make a judgment upon all people that drive that type of car in this moment? Yes, I can. And
have you ever been surprised by the person behind the wheel
when you look at them?
Yeah,
you get a good look.
Cut off, and you get a good look, or like they do some of that stuff, and you're like, oh, I think this is gonna be like a 22-year-old to 25-year-old douchebag who drives a 2015 Ram, and it's like someone's grandma.
It doesn't happen very often, but
it usually fits the stereotype. But I like seeing the.
But like the one hand, I find that the people that are doing it are people that when they do get into a fender bender and their airbag goes off, I want to see a slow-mo of them just getting punched in the face with their own hand. That to me would be a pure joy. It's unsafe.
I think it's unsafe. Also, it's one of those things socially, we've talked about it before, people are performative. Right? People are performative. They want you to like them. They want you to think they're cool.
Yeah.
Like, you remember that friend of yours that told you people share things on Instagram because they want people to see how cool they are. The cool content they're absorbing.
Yes.
I think same with posturing. Like, why are you going to be in a big bad truck, a big badass truck, and not be one hand, and the other hand next to your girl, like, being that, like,
you're describing the guy that was behind me, the big huge truck, one hand on the wheel, sunglasses.
It's performative, man. It's performative.
And I'm just like, everybody that drives the truck sucks. They're all jerks. They all tailgate. And then I'm like, no, that's not true. They don't. But it is fun to just hate people that you don't know sometimes.
Yeah. I think it's fun to stereotype that stuff too, because it makes you feel good, doesn't it? Doesn't it make you feel better than them?
It does. Yeah. But I want to put my stereotyping to the test, right? I want to be like, is it only just guys in big trucks wearing sunglasses? So then I focus on the other lane. I see who's driving towards me on the other side of the road. I'm like, what's going on with these people? Who's got one hand up? Guess what? All makes and models of people, okay? All different kinds. Every type of person
my
has...
brothers and sisters, my fellow motorists.
all the colors of the world and all
whether you put one hand on the steering wheel or two on the steering wheel. Yeah. We're both united.
Yeah. Well, all the types of people, they all do that. It doesn't matter. You know what? It's just some people, they're trying to look cool.
I have a dream.
They have a dream that they look cool while they drive. But guess what? No,
that all motorists look cool.
No, you're an annoying kid's aunt. That's what you are. Okay.
You're a Karen.
It's Karens.
Karens in, honestly, CRVs. Karens and CRVs. There's a lot of Karens and CRVs that I've seen act a fool on the highway.
It's Karens, and it can be, middle-aged millennials going to a Pogs tournament.
It's funny. I think millennials are kind of like one of the last generations that are still driving, because I think the Zoomers don't drive. They're not into driving.
I have not heard this, but it doesn't surprise me that as far as I know, Zoomers pretty much are just fully different from everybody else.
They're Europeans, but they don't live in Europe. It's a weird thing. It's a very... I like the push, the Zoomer mentality. To generalize, not all.
But I think this is why Zoomers are so different, is the fact that they're brought up in an age where everything is so rapidly changing. It's just constant change. It's like you blink and everything's different, and that's just how they've evolved. So in some ways, they've just gone off on this like wild path. And in other ways, they've gone and circled back around to just like the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah, dude. I like the way they're pushing the envelope. I don't get why when I was younger, people my age kind of said we were dumb and the stuff we were doing was dumb and the culture. Because like now that I'm older and I'm seeing these younger, even like just out of high school, like 20-year-olds, and the cultures they're kind of coming up with, the fashion and everything, I think it's really cool. I think there's a lot of cool stuff coming out. One thing, though, that I have a weird feeling of is just the return of certain substance abusing is kind of weird, but it's kind of sad. But like the addiction to like the fact that when I was a kid, when I was growing up, my formative years in like high school and stuff, like dabs were serious business, right? Do you remember doing a dab?
No.
You've never done a dab before?
No. But like I know what it is. Yeah.
It was serious business to do it. Like someone would bring out like a butane. It was crazy.
That wasn't a thing when I was growing up. That didn't come around until I was like in my mid-20s, late 20s. I started hearing about it, but I was like, it didn't really interest me. I mean, the version of that was like hash. Like that's kind of what.
Well, that was wild for me as a kid, right? And I only did it like a few times, but like that was like really powerful stuff. But now these kids, they have access to even more powerful types of marijuana and different types of drugs. Zins are super popular now. And it's like a lot of kids are combining nicotine and weed. And it's just like they're dealing with like a different type of like environment in that sense.
Yeah. And they're all pretty young still.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe this is like, you know, it's a passing fad where like a lot of them are going to be like, oh yeah, that was really dumb when we were doing all that. And most of them will be able to kind of get off of it. But then you're going to have the people that are just like, their life is ruined. They have mouth cancer, like, you know, from doing all that crap.
It's dumb, but it's also like it's higher octane stuff. So it's kind of like the risk has gone up. Because like experimenting with drugs is kind of like that's something high schoolers do. That's something if you don't do it, it's almost kind of like you missed out on something because it's something you did.
Yeah, what happened to just having a little fun, doing a little jankum with your buds? You know,
jankum.
Just look it up. Anyway, no, not right now.
That's jankum.
No,
but no, I think I love the younger generation. They're funny. I think there are a lot of funny stuff coming up. I think they're very, very funny videos coming up. Yes, brother. Well, I like all the streaming stuff, brother.
They're streaming. They want to be famous.
One kid is ruining his life. A few of these kids are ruining their life.
Oh, there's
Neon. Oh my God. There's this kid named Neon. Is this little Muslim kid, super skinny. He's not really Muslim. He's a bad Muslim because he just live streams, goes around places and invites one character. He has this one character named Modine, who's like this Iranian Shia Muslim kid, and they were walking around the mall, and Modine in front of just screaming like Allahu Akbar, just screaming it, trying to incite people and like scare them, and it's just they were doing a bunch. This one Neon had big security guards, and he would go and like start arguments and fights with people, just random people, and then have a security guard scare them away.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying they should be shot, but they could very well be shot.
One guy was shot, right? This one prankster, I forgot his name. He got shot in the mall because he messed with a DoorDash guy. This guy just working his butt off. He's just living his life. He was picking up some DoorDash, and this guy followed him around the mall and kept like pushing up on him for a viral video. And this guy just pulled out a gun and shot him. This is a big kid too.
You know what? I'm not saying that that's right, but I'm saying that you're putting yourself in these situations by doing stupid stuff, and you're gonna mess with the wrong person. Pranks are getting out of control. Pranks when you were a kid, like we were growing up, you know, pranks were like the biggest victim of the prank was like you were like mildly annoyed for like a second. This is like you're ruining someone's entire day to go viral. It's so dumb. Dude, I cannot wait. I was trying to think about this. It's like this world where everybody is just like an influencer. Everybody's an influencer. And then what do they do all day? They're just like looking at other influencers, and everyone's just an influencer, and then there's just no other economy, and then everyone just starves on film. Like, is that how it goes? Just a bunch of people just being like, look at me, oh man,
oh my God, chat, I'm dying, chat. What do I do?
Chat, I'm literally dying right now.
I can't handle this chat. Oh my God. Oh geez, Kappa. No, Kappa's old now. I remember Kappa. Kappa used to be a thing. Now it's like, you know, dubs of the chat for dehydration.
Yeah, F for respect, everybody.
I dodged a draft in the climate war. In the end of the day, different problems, but same childhood. Like it's just different problems. I remember, I don't recall me and my friends growing up pulling real pranks on each other. Like we just like we would make fun of each other, like, but we wouldn't like I didn't ever have a friend who like did something wild. Like there are pranks out nowadays where people pretend that your partner's cheating on you and you give them a little bit of evidence and then it comes out that, oh, it's just a joke. We were just emotionally messing with you and making you feel like your relationship was like vulnerable, you know?
Yeah.
How if someone did that to me like now, like I don't know what I would be liable to do. Like I'd be very upset, you know? But this kid that got shot, the jury sided a little bit with the guy who shot him. So they agreed to his self-defense. They just said it wasn't, and it was a fair criticism, it wasn't proportional. Because self-defense has to be proportional.
Yeah.
The guy, he wasn't like he was punching the dude. He like was just kind of walking up on him.
It's true. And it's like, it's crazy. Like, especially if you get yourself into some trouble and you're carrying a weapon and someone else is carrying a weapon and they act faster, you're toast.
That's why, you know, I have mixed feelings about guns because they are like kind of like a multiplier. It's kind of like a trouble multiplier. Like, what's that? Is it Klokhov's or something? Something's Gun. You might know who I'm talking about. It's a Russian playmaker, cinematographer, and he has this thing called like Something's Gun. And it's like, if there's a gun in a movie scene or a play and you see it, the audience sees it, it will fire. It's just, that's the rule. Like if you see the gun at one point, it's gonna fire. And it's, I think the same thing when you add a gun to like any element in life, where like if you're just carrying around a gun, at one point it's gonna fire. Like you might be the most stable guy in the world, but something might happen.
Then all of a sudden you shoot yourself in your knee, and then you have to be like, I'm stupid.
I was once an adventurer too before I shot myself in the knee.
I shot myself in the knee like
With
an
my Glock.
idiot. Classic knee shot.
Now I can't adventure.
Yeah.
No ventures for me.
and that's just fun times down at the old knee shooting factory.
Oh man. Knee shooting factory. Nowadays too, everything's messed up in this world now. Like nowadays,
it's all messed up,
knee
guys.
replacement is dangerous. You shoot your knee, right?
Yeah.
You get a knee replacement because you obviously just shot your knee, not the rest of your shit.
Just go on down to Kneesy Does It.
Yeah, Kneesy does it, buddy. And then you get a new knee, and there's a likelihood that the manufacturer of that knee messed up, and your knee is going to need another replacement in 8 years.
Just the classic, the guy working at the knee replacement factory is just doing a prank. Switched out the knee, and then this guy's...
Dude, these pranks are wild. I remember not too long ago, it might have been 2-3 years now, this kid in the UK, as a prank, just walked into somebody's house with his friends and made themselves at home.
Yeah.
And this family was in the house with children, like, get out. And they knocked on the door, guy opened, hey, what is it? And they walked in. Just made themselves at home, taking videos. And this kid got a lot of hate for it because obviously he kind of terrorized a family for no reason. And I think they were trying to play the whole, the kids were black and the family was white. And it was just like, I remember watching it, I was like, if that was in America, they'd be shot dead immediately. Yeah. Depending on the house they walk into.
If you just go into someone's house to do a prank like that, I mean, good luck.
In America, someone shot a woman pulling into their driveway to turn around.
That's what Cheech was worried about last week. Cheech got here. She came to the street. She pulled into the wrong address, the wrong house. I don't even know where she pulled in. It was like kind of far down the street. And she's like, do you live in this? I see someone at the window. And I'm like, oh, you're not at my house. I'm like, I'm in my driveway. You're not here. And she's just like, I'm at the address. I'm like, no, you're not. You're 100% not.
To be fair, your home is hard to find. I remember the first couple of times trying to find your house was difficult.
I never had a hard time finding this place.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean, I
did.
When I bought the house, had a drove here, no problem. Found it the first time.
I too, if I was going to spend hundreds of $1,000s on something, I'm probably going to know exactly how to get there. But like,
were you just pocket watching right there?
I apologize for
Yeah,
pocket watching.
easy on the pocket watching, brother.
I apologize, brother.
Okay.
You know what I was going to ask was what kind of car does Cheech drive? Because it was just curious. And then instantly I was like, we shouldn't
Don't
ever
need to do that.
tell somebody
Don't
what,
need to talk
what a
about
woman's
makes and
car
models of cars of other
looks like.
people. You know, we don't need to do that.
Oh,
We're not that podcast. We'll let
Well, you can find me, man. HRV, man. Find the HRV, man.
yeah, find one.
But no, like, what can you do? Like, they have to learn on their own way. That's just wild. That case, it was in New York. A lady just pulled into a driveway. Guy shot her. Then he freaked out, took an hour to call the police, and fabricated a bunch of evidence.
Yeah, I saw this. It's
wild.
It's a wild story, and I hope it never happens to me. And that's all I can say.
That's all you can do.
That's all I can say on the topic right now. I just want to keep it light, though.
Want to keep it light?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You want to talk about Palestine? I'm kidding. Or you want to talk about Russia?
It light. I don't want to talk about Russia
You wanna talk
or
about the Ruskies?
Palestine or anything involving people getting killed for no reason.
Ooh, speaking of pranks, April 1st is next week, right?
Ooh, yes.
I think our podcast is going to be
we got an April Fool's podcast?
We have an April Fool's podcast, man.
Oh, wow.
We're going to be fools.
I mean, that only happens potentially once every 7 years or so.
Oh, I did pull a prank on friends when we were kids. So on April Fool's Day, one of my friends had started a prank. It was kind of like a prank that everybody just started following suit in his prank. It was a call crank where he called me crying, freaking out, and he was in the bathroom with the shower on because it was raining outside to mimic the rain. And he's like, I just got into a fight, I just dealt, and he just concocted this strange story of where he is assaulted and needs help. And I'm freaking out trying to like get my car keys to like go save my friend. And then he's like, no, dude, it was a prank, brother. It was a prank. So I did the same thing to my friend Isaac, who almost got who almost came out to help me too. And that was the biggest prank we did. I think that was the biggest prank. We never messed with anybody's houses.
Well, that's nice. I've done some pranks.
You seem like a trickster.
Yeah, I've done the prank calls. I did a really messed up prank where I told somebody that
you loved them and you didn't mean it.
I would never do that. That I had a horrible disease that was going to take away my ability to like function. And then I was like, just kidding. And then I was like, that was not even funny. Like, why would you? It's a stupid,
Yeah, it depends on how. I don't know. I think that would.
Sorry about that, Edgar.
Depends on the person. Edgar, you did that to Edgar?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Hey, I was stupid.
Edgar, I'm sorry, man. How dare you?
I know.
Dare you? We're talking about Edgar that comments and is cool with
different Edgar.
Different.
No, same one.
Oh,
Same
okay.
one.
I was ready to turn on Edgar.
I know, right? No. No, I've one of my favorite pranks that was pretty harmless was like at work. I worked at Whole Foods, and I would mess with the people. I like to do a lot of intercom horsing around. Like I would do fake pages later in the evening when all the real supervisors were gone, and they had like the younger ones that were cool that were on, and you could just say like funny stuff over the intercom, and that was just, you could be like, yeah, paging Michael Bolton, like when Michael Bolton would be playing on the radio, you just be like, yeah, this calls for Michael Bolton on line 2, Michael Bolton line 2, like just like something silly like that. But one of my favorites was there's this guy who would work in the dairy section, and we called the dairy department. And we said, hey, this is kind of a weird question, but do you guys sell breast milk, like human breast milk? And then the guy like tried to give honest like help. He's like, no, but we have this other thing that you could. And he like went off for a while, and I was like, dude, we're just messing around. It's Keith over at Seafood, and he was just like, dang it, but he laughed. He thought it was funny.
Ridiculous. I remember working at the grocery store was probably some of the most fun I had when I was a kid. But the thing is that intercom nonsense, you can't be doing the intercom stuff with like uncool people.
You cannot,
because it is a huge risk.
Oh yeah, I eventually got spoken to about it, but I never got in any trouble for it.
Oh, not like snitches too, but like people who like took it too far. Like I remember this one guy would like scream things off the intercom, because at the Hannaford I worked at, every register had an intercom next to them that they can call stuff real quick. And then
it's common.
Like I remember I would, late night sneak a few things, like, say something stupid.
Sure.
But like I remember some kids would just go dumb, like just scream a swear or like say something really dumb, and then the customer could be in the area. But I remember when I was working at a bank, the wildest thing I saw a coworker do by accident was
rob the person depositing the money with a gun.
That was like the second wildest thing. No, my buddy, he worked like the desk, like he was the real banker. Like he would wear a suit and tie, and he had a desk, right?
Real banker
and
alert.
I was like the teller, and we were behind, and it was like, dude, it was like one of the slowest Sunday or Friday nights or whatever. It was like a Friday night. It was super slow. Like we're at the last.
Oh my god! Tell me how slow was
hour of our shift.
Man,
there was nobody in. There's nobody in.
Nobody wanted anything to do with money that night?
Nobody, and on payday, no less. No,
Come on.
We already went through a rush, and it was me and like three other tellers, and nobody had noticed that there was a gentleman hidden behind a pillar, because he was sitting in an awkward place waiting to go talk to the banker, talk to my buddy. So the last customer leaves. Will says bye to them. He doesn't notice the guy in the waiting area because there are these awkward pillars kind of hiding him.
Awkward.
And Will starts chatting with me and another teller. I probably shouldn't say his name. Crap. And he goes, oh, yeah, we were talking about Montreal. And I was like, yeah, I can't wait to go to Montreal. And he immediately goes, oh, yeah, man, Montreal, they have those full nudity titty bars. Those are the best.
Yeah, they're
Mind
the
you, this homie
greatest.
sells like annuities. He sells like mortgages. Like he's like the legit.
And he thinks the bank is closed.
And he thinks the bank, not closed, but like empty and like nobody's in. And there's this gentleman.
Secret Pillar Boy.
Secret Pillar Boy. So I catch Secret Pillar Boy and I immediately go customer service mode. I'm like, oh, sir, I did not see you there. How can I help you out? And he's like, oh, I was just going to wait for the titty bar guy. And Will, you can see, I should say his name. Okay, who gives a fuck? The literally... so white, the red, like the blood just rushes out of
all
his face.
The black pigment in his skin went away.
He was
I know.
He was Asian actually. And he was like, holy fuck. So he goes and he says, I am so sorry.
I know.
He takes care of the guy. The guy was hilarious. The guy was like, oh, it's cool, and he wished us all a good night and he left.
He's like, I got some nudes on my phone that are pretty cool if you want to see them.
So we have to talk about this, right? So he comes up to all of us. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And it's worse than you guys think. I was like, what? I was like, is that a secret shopper? He's like, no, he works for the bank. He like is like in corporate. And he joked. He was like, I'm glad I didn't bring my kids here. And nothing came of it because the guy was cool. He was just like, I get it. You guys didn't see me. I was kind of hidden behind the pillar. But
I was kind of being a little
funniest thing.
Kind of being a little sneaky, a little pillar sneaky bank man.
Oh, dude, banks are weird. Banks are also weird culture on the retail side because people they come and go all the time, and they go to other banks and they usually just job hop. So nobody ever really develops. Maybe they develop strong leadership skills or whatever, but it's like they seem to like always kind of be like figureheads that jump around to different banks. And it's super, like, I don't know how to put it. Like, it's just, like, oddly ancestral or whatever. It was weird. It was a weird Weird. I'm so glad I'm not in the industry anymore. It's such a weird thing.
The bank is a place where nowadays, the average typical like personal account holding bank customer that goes in to the bank
is 45.
Is dumb.
Yeah.
They're so dumb. They're like like, because I have to go deposit money at the bank for work sometimes, and it's like, I cannot believe how dumb the things that people say are in the bank, in the line. It's like, this lady's like, asking the teller, what's my PIN? What is my PIN? Like, she's asking the teller what, she's like, I can't tell you that. Like, that's how this works. It's like, no, you can't.
You're getting your PIN?
You can't open the account under somebody else's name, or like, that kind of stuff where it's just like, what are you talking about? Like, I swear to God, I'm going to see someone like go the wrong way in the line for the drive-through. They're going to drive the wrong way and just be like, yo, let me do a little deposit here.
I remember the worst customers were typically the ones through the drive-through, because they had pro tip, if you want to get in and out of the bank quickly,
pro tip,
go through the drive-through most of the time.
False, but yeah,
I believe it's true, because I'll tell you this, at least back when I worked there are so many, it is such a big deal to forget somebody at the drive-through that tellers are super aware of it, and some places have one teller dedicated to just the drive-through to make sure the drive-through is taken care of. So like, it's a huge deal to get through that, and I usually have the quickest experience there if you have to go physically to a bank. But going inside is always a pain in the ass if it's really busy. But I just remember, dude, I was never happy working there. I was happy because my team was cool, but like, it's a job. I think, again, we've talked about it before. Every American should do a couple years in customer service, like required service in a customer service role.
Would you ever have a situation on your way to work, like on premise of work, that has nothing to do with work, that gets you like looped in to having to deal with that thing instead? Like, a customer's like having a freak out or whatever outside of the bank, and you have to like deal with that before you're even working. You ever have something like that? Like on premise, like some kind of thing you have to deal with on premise? Like
in the bank, like, the thing is, like, anything like that would have happened like before our shift was impossible, because banks don't open their doors if someone's just waiting up front at the front door. They just don't. Like, there are a bunch of security rules. Like, your shift starts like 30 minutes before like you even really open the doors. So like an hour before you open the doors, and like you have to. There was a whole thing that I can't even talk about that we had to do before we got into the building, and one of the things that would prevent us from even opening the store was somebody just waiting out there. So there'd be idiots who would just wait at the front door, and like, the bank should be open by now, and we physically can't go up there because it's a risk to unlock that door if there's a random person just waiting there, because it's like you could be robbed or whatever.
Never knew that. So, does it say it on the door?
It doesn't say anything on the door. It's like they would be out there at, like, let's say the bank opens at 9. Let's say the bank opens at 9. They would be out there at like 8. They'd be out there at like 8 o'clock waiting.
That's
and
too
it's
early.
Not like it's not like you can go by them too. It's not like you can walk by them. You have to wait until they naturally leave. And I remember one guy waited so long that my boss just like stood up, and my boss had just gotten out of his car and broke the rules, and
you get tighten
told him to leave. Tighten this.
Yeah, you get tighten that.
Oh, that was tight. But I don't. I was trying to get. Was that an answer to your question a minute ago, man? Or?
I mean, that can certainly.
Or like, what do you mean on premise? Like,
because I just one time had to deal with a lady in front of the building I was going into, who asked me to call 911.
Holy shit! Really?
Yeah.
Why was she? What was happening to her?
Well, I couldn't tell anything was wrong. She just kind of seemed. She just looked like she was like not having a good time. And did she look a little bananas? Maybe. But I was like, I don't know what's going on with this lady. Like, I'm gonna treat her like I would treat any other, person that seems like they're in trouble, whatever. And I'm talking to this lady. She's like, I'm in a lot of pain. I need you to call 911. I'm like, what? She's like, I'm having a baby. And I'm like,
and it's yours.
And I'm like, what the hell is this? I was like, and I'm just so caught off guard. I'm immediately like, all right, yeah, I gotta go call 911 for you. So I was like nervous about calling 911 on my phone. I was like, I don't want to, like, I want to call from the building, which I think it's better to call from a landline. It's like more accurate for them to trace a landline call than a cell phone call.
Because they have to triangulate, right, with cell phones?
I think stuff like that. So I call 911, and I'm like, hi. They're like, what's your emergency? I'm like, hi, yeah, this lady is outside of the building I work at, and she told me she's having a baby. And I said, but here's the thing. This lady is like, looks about 52 years old. And I don't think she's having a baby, but that's what she told me, so I don't know what to do. And he's like, like, he's just like, well, is this a real phone call right now? Like, he kind of was like, is this real? And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just doing what this lady told me. Like, I'm here. I'm at this address. Like, can you send someone? And he's like, yeah. And then he starts guiding me through. He's like, do you know CPR? Can you, if she passes out, can you resuscitate her? It's like, is she vomiting? Is she bleeding? Can you see any part of the baby? That's a fun question they ask you. Can you see any part of the baby if this lady's calling because she's having a baby? It's a good question.
That's wild to like just be like casual baby flash.
Yeah. And so like my coworker, I haven't even punched in yet. I was so like,
You did this all off the clock?
I did this off the clock. I should have punched in.
You should have punched in.
I really should have punched in before doing all this. So meanwhile, I haven't even like said hi to my coworker. I just came in right to dialing 911. Like, don't even say hi. Just beeline to the phone right next to him and be like, hey, 911. And he's like, what? And then he's listening to me have this conversation. He starts laughing. So the 911 guy hears laughing in the background.
Oh my God.
So it's like getting even like sketchier with this. I'm like, I'm serious. I'm not messing around.
I don't get the fact too, like, I don't know, like, do people prank call like 911 like that? Because 911, like, that's a crime. The cops will mess you up for that.
Of course, but people are dumb, and people do a lot of dumb stuff all the time. And so the guy's like, all right, we're sending everybody, hang tight or whatever, and keep an eye on the lady. And I was like, okay, sure. So I go out there. This lady is just like sitting there, and as I'm sitting there with this lady waiting for 911 to show up, all the things are clicking. All the pieces are coming together. I noticed she has like a stack of like 8 empty Starbucks cups with like lipstick on them, and I'm just like, okay, that does not bode well for this pregnancy situation that could be happening. And I'm just like, this lady's not giving off vibes of a lady that's going into labor. But it caught me so off guard. Like, I didn't know how to handle it.
Did they take her?
And so, like, I'm on the stoop with this lady, and we hear the sirens coming from down the street. And this lady goes, I don't know why they got to make such a big deal out of this. I'm like, what are you talking? I'm like, you had me call 911. It's like the biggest deal.
It is a huge deal,
like,
ma'am.
People pull over for you, like, to get you safety. Like, there's probably going to be, you just brought 12 people that, like, that could be doing real things to help real people to come to you who's just, like,
Well, she's in a
kind of
deluded,
crazy.
right?
She's delusional lady.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do in these situations. I just try to do the right thing.
Well, you did exactly what a good person should do. I feel like that. I feel like I'd give you 10 out of 10. It's a good person thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like what the reason why those resources exist is like the worst case is a 52-year-old pregnant woman dies in your front steps. You know.
Yeah.
So like, honestly, you kind of just avoided anything.
And so. Like, another thing that happened while I'm waiting for the 911 people to show up, she goes, last night I was in the emergency room and I told them I was having a baby, and they said, you're not having a baby, but look, here I am, having a baby. I'm like, all right, well, yeah, okay. I'm like, well, they're going to be here soon, so... the fire truck shows up, the ambulance shows up.
It's funny, fire trucks always show up.
Cops, everybody's there. The guy's like, "Are you the one who called 911?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay." And he's like asking this lady all the questions. He's like, how pregnant are you? Are you 38 weeks? Are you 30? He's like trying to like play into the lie of this lady to like just like get this lady to basically admit she's not pregnant, and she's like wasting all of these people's time and causing a big scene over nothing. And eventually I just like I was like, all that, I just like had to go clock in. It's like, all right, I've clocked in for the day now my day begins. I was like, great.
It's nothing better than that. Like,
great way to start a Tuesday.
I will say, having like experienced someone dealing with a bad mental health issue and like mania, I think I've talked about it before.
Are we about to get serious on the Mo Keith Time podcast?
It's not seriousness, it's just like I'm noticing a lot of people seem like they're having like walking delusions, like they're walking mania, and nobody's trying to get them out of it. Like celebrities or streamers, like that Modine guy,
for sure,
looks
dude.
like he's manic. He's a manic person. He's like, you could see in his eyes.
Oh my
like,
God, yeah.
He's going back and forth. He's in a delusion, and nobody cares. But like, I really think like when you key into mental health enough, and you just start seeing like normal people, politicians, you're like, that's a sign of a mental health. That's a mental health issue right there. Like that person looks like they're manic, or like they're talking as if they're manic.
Yep.
Like, have you seen these compilations of like MAGA voters? Like, not like people who vote for Trump. Like, I think Trump voters are separate. There are people who vote for Trump because they feel like they have to for like other reasons. They feel like militarily, like he looks stronger. And then there are delusional core MAGA supporters. And those people all seem like they have like the same shared delusion. Like they all seem like super messed up. Just watching videos of them talking about like gotta protect the president. Stop the steal.
I mean, there's that sect of people that they can be easily convinced about like obvious lies that I think any normal human being can discern from the truth. They're like, oh yeah, that's not real. Like, I mean, just because you vote for Donald Trump doesn't mean you don't know the truth from from completely make-believe land. Like,
oh yeah, they're separate, but I'm talking about like those hardcore supporters, the ones that like dress up for his events and stuff.
I would dress up.
A lot of them seem very delusional. Like, and it happens on the left too. Like there are people who look like idiots.
The left is perfect.
Yeah, they're perfect.
They're so perfect, and if you don't believe them, you're a racist.
I'm a racist, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm not a racist. There are just some races I like more than others.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
well aware.
We believe in ranked choice voting. If you're on the left, I just rank choice my races.
Rank them up.
Put black people right there in the top.
Wow, racist. Being the first racist statement said on this podcast goes to Mo.
No, that was you.
I've never.
That was you, episode 1.
What did I say?
I don't remember.
Yeah, see, there we go.
We can go back.
Insert clip of me being racist right here. Okay.
Right here.
No, and it doesn't
Asian
matter.
woman that hit you.
That was not episode 1. I saved that for later.
I saved my racism for when I got to know you a little bit.
Yeah, and I was wearing, as you can remember, I was wearing a Japan shirt when it happened. So in reality, not racist.
Yeah, honestly.
And also, as long as you say
not racist, it's fine.
You're absolved.
You're absolved.
We
you
know
didn't
this.
mean it in a
This is
racist
what
way.
we know, and we've proven this.
Bill Burr has a
time and time
phenomenal
again.
bit about race. I forget what he'd said. I feel like white people would get in a lot less trouble when we talk about race.
Oh, I know what you're
if
going to
we
say.
moved the swear.
Yeah, if you said...
Because black people, when they talk about race, they'll be like, this Asian motherfucker cut me off on the road.
Yeah,
Jesus.
you put the F word in front if you're going to be racist.
But if you say fucking Asian...
If you say it before, you're racist after, it's just...
It just kind of tells you how much of a genius that guy is. The more I listen to Bill Burr,
he's just so
I glaze
smart.
so hard.
Oh my god,
such a good dude.
What a great guy.
And his wife is black. Oh my god.
Wait, is she?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Someone said it was Anthony from Opie and Anthony had said his wife was ugly. And I was just like, she's older. She's an older woman, but she's kind of attractive. She's an attractive woman. Like,
sure.
I was like, man, how racist could you be for your dick not to work? He just doesn't like, he's not into Bill's wife, whatever. Or people who say like Michelle Obama isn't.
Oh, you mean Mike? JK, big JK.
Oh my god!
You talking about Mike over here? What are you doing?
Oh, Jesus Christ! So homeless people.
Yeah.
Oh jeez. I'm crying. Dude.
Yeah, that's all right.
Oh, you're gonna go to hell for that one.
I mean, you laughed harder than anybody probably has ever laughed at that.
Just the timing was so good. I'm gonna see your show soon, man. I'm excited. You're with your band Object.
Yes, you're gonna see it April 13th. Everybody,
you need to buy tickets.
Get your tickets.
Doors at 7.
Doors
music
at 7.
At 8.
With the wonderful Trawl and the wonderful Parts Per Million.
Shout out Trawl.
Shout out Parts Per Million. Let's go. Let's have a good sellout. We'll sell out the Cavern. Good old fashioned rock and roll show.
So Trawl's the main act?
Yeah, they're headlining.
That's awesome. So what is a set for a band?
We're doing 45.
Oh wow, so it's gonna be a late show.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, music at 8. I bet it'll be over by probably be over by 11:30. I would think, maybe 11. I bet the opening band. I bet the opening band will do half hour, and there'll probably be like 15-20 minutes in between us and them, and then we'll do 45, and then Trawl will probably do an hour, I guess. But yeah, we got a new album. It's really cooking right now. We're done. We got about six songs pretty much in the bag. We've got 2 more we got to put some finishing touches on.
Dude, if you want to know finishing touch, put me in as a feature.
You want to be in there?
Yeah, dude, I'm down.
I already had Tim Duffy want to be in as additional percussion.
What was he gonna play?
He's probably gonna just play like a triangle or like a tambourine.
I just thought I could shout. You know.
You want to go like, oh, yeah.
Or I could say stuff in Somali.
We were looking for that.
Really?
We were looking for someone to shout Somali, like call us all Habibti.
Habibti.
Yeah.
Habibi. That's Arabic though.
That's
Arabic.
different.
Yeah, they're a different. You know, like the movie Dune. They're kind of like the people from the desert planet of the movie Dune.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just heard you use it in joke, and then I had to look it up.
Habibi, really?
Yeah, I had to look it up. I had to see what that meant.
It is an endearing term. It's like cutie.
My love.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it said, yeah.
So like it's enduring. It's kind of like cutie. Like that's like the way I think about it, but
yeah, honey.
Yeah. Honey,
really?
Honey, really?
Honey, really? We know you're not fasting, okay?
Yeah. I have to those who don't know, I have a joke that the hardest thing about being fat and Muslim is like no one believes you during Ramadan. Which it wouldn't have been a big part of my, well, not a big part, a joke that I say so often if it wasn't for you. It was a throwaway line during Ramadan at an open mic maybe a year ago.
I think it was actually 2 years ago. I remember that. I remember that one.
You need to keep that. You need to keep that joke. No, yeah. I performed it and then I didn't do it a few times and you were like, you need to do that joke.
Yeah, it had been Easter and it had been Ramadan the same time. And so I'd been talking about Easter lunch with some family. We had like an Easter dinner and I did a couple jokes about my uncle and you were talking about like Ramadan and, you know, fasting and everything and how no one believed you. And I remember like because sometimes those holidays overlap, you know, yeah. But it was like, it was just, I remember it was really funny and I'd never heard you say it before. And I just wanted to make sure that you did it again because I think comics need to tell other comics when they have a throwaway line they've never heard them say and, you know, keep it, you know, let's keep it going.
You gotta have fun. You gotta have fun with the process and like I remember I didn't want to do it again because I felt like that was a Ramadan joke. That's a joke that you say during Ramadan but I don't know. Audiences love it. It's one of their favorite jokes of mine. And I remember other comics, like comics I respect, like visiting comics, would like be like that would be the joke they'd always go back to and be like, "Oh, dude, that was funny."
Yeah, because
was funny.
Well, was that kind of like an observation growing up that like Muslim kids had?
I wrote it on stage. I remember I thought I was thinking about Ramadan and I had made a fat joke already about myself, I think. And then I was like, you know, it reminded me of like when I started fasting when I was 12. My mom like was like, because you were supposed to start when you were 15 and my mom wanted us to get started earlier. Like my youngest brother started when he was like 10. We would do like half days and my mom would make me do full days. And I remember growing up and going to religion school and like adults would be like, "You're not fasting, you're lying." Like they would legitimately, they don't believe it because I was a chubby little kid from a single mom who gave me everything I wanted. And like they were all like, "No, you're eating McDonald's and you go on. Habibti, so cute. You're lying about fasting." I remember I fasted once and I broke my fast at the masjid at night with everybody else. And they had a bunch of food. And I remember the imam who was, he was so funny. He was so concerned about me because he said, he was joking. He was making fun of me. But he was like, "You must have been so famous today." So he got me like extra plates of food. He's like, "You have to eat all of this." He was like a feeder. He's like, yes, Habibi. Eat more rice.
Eat more of this food.
Oh my God.
Do you ever get jealous of those women that just get fed by a guy?
Would I do it?
Would you?
I don't think I'm that fat. I'm
no,
fat,
you're not.
But I'm definitely not feeder fat.
No, but you could get there if you wanted to.
I could aspire.
You could get to new heights and new weights, but you just get there. I'm just saying, like, does that seem like a chill life? I guess it's pretty chill.
It seems like a chill life, but I will say, and I'm publicly committing to this. Last week's health scare, the reason why I wasn't in, it wasn't that big of a deal. has made me kind of double down a little bit more on getting healthier and feeling better. Because I went to the ER. I was for an infection, and seeing just really, really fat people like made me kind of like go back a little bit and was like, I don't want to be that fat. Like, I want to stay comfy, but I don't want to be like, you know, like all I can wear is a t-shirt, super big t-shirt and shorts fat. Like, like just people who are like in pain, like, and just like the, you know, I think it's because
you don't want to be like Homer Simpson when he's wearing the muumuu using the dialing wand.
Exactly. Like, or like just general Family Guy fat, like Peter Griffin fat. But no, it's like growing up fat, I could deal with it more. Like the confidence thing kind of went away. Like the confidence issue stuff went away.
Oh, yeah.
And I got older and I could deal with being fat because I was young. I was still active and I was strong enough to kind of keep going. But the older you get, you can't be old and fat, man. It's just not sustainable. It's painful. Man, it's not good on your body. It's not good on your joints.
It's got to be crazy. Like, yeah. I mean, you think about losing people like, I lost 50 pounds. I lost 100 pounds. You said you've lost 100 pounds?
I've swung 100 pounds or more.
So
multiple times in my life.
I mean, I don't know that I could like bench press 100 pounds. I don't think I can. I mean, I'm pretty. I'm not. I weigh 148 pounds. I mean, I don't know. I probably weigh more than that, but
the hard part, dude, is I've done it 3 times, and like big swings like that. Because you have small swings, like every once in a while, I'll drop like 30 pounds. Everyone's like, "Oh wow," or like, but like the big swings, the thing that hurts is like they're usually in high school. It was triggered by I was just tired of being fat and being young in high school, and I wanted to lose weight. So I lost like a ton of weight, and I got to my ideal weight, and I stayed there for like 2.5 years or whatever, and then I gained it back in college. And then the second time, I remember the gaining it back. I remember it's just because I stopped caring, and it's this thing. There's this emptiness that comes from when you work so hard to lose it, and like you lose the weight, and you're like, my life is going to be better.
Sure.
If I do this. Just like anything, if you aspire and work really hard to attain something, you think your life's going to change.
For sure.
And when you get hit with the fact that it doesn't change,
it stops changing.
The
weight loss is the change, and then once you're done losing your weight and you're at a healthy weight, that's just your life now, and you think you're forever going to have this joy.
You think you're forever going to have this joy, and you think people will like you more, or that people cared as much, and you start realizing that if not for your weight, they'll still find something else to make fun of you about.
I of course will.
And they'll still, like, the girl that you like still isn't going to like you. Because you can lose the weight.
That's not necessarily true. I bet
you can lose the weight, but the fat kid inside of you, that low self-esteem, or that kid that feels the way they do, that doesn't go away.
You're high self-esteem fat.
It appears that way. But
are you faking it?
You're always faking it.
Are you
Everyone's faking
do you fake orgasms?
I'm faking this confidence. But no, for real, it's like, that's the swing. It's like when you realize like, oh, it's not meaningless because it means a lot, but it's like it feels meaningless. You go through this big journey. Same with like the last time I had that swing. Like I went through that swing and then I gained it back. And it was just like, it's just this emptiness of like, you work so hard for something and it feels like you really didn't get a lot in return, and you have to keep working.
Yes.
Because I'm so big too. If I do lose a ton of weight, metabolically or whatever, I have to keep it off for over 2 years for that to set as my normal weight.
Yeah.
And you gain back weight so quickly. So like,
right.
I would work so hard and I would work out so much. I did walking. That was my old thing. I would walk like it was like 46 miles a week. I was walking a lot and I was eating very little. I was trying to minimize how much I eat. And it just hit me like one day where I just go, fuck it, I'm going to have a burger, gain back a ton of weight, and have to do a bunch of work to get back to where I was. So it's it's just this grind, and it's not like I'm not seeking sympathy or anything out of it. It's just like it is something for context. Like it is really hard for some people to lose weight and keep it off. Don't get me wrong, like I have to do it and you should do it. It's like I don't believe in like the health at every size or like
no, dude, should, like, you're like you for sure you need to lose weight for your health.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's something you need to do it
for the quality.
You're going to feel better
and longevity.
You will feel better, but what happens this is what happens with like addicts where it's like they have their addiction and then they're like I finally want to get help, and then they get their help and it's really hard to get settled in, and then they finally kind of get a nice groove for their addiction and they're like, all right, I'm getting off this addiction I have. And then eventually like you start feeling really good. You're like, wow, I feel awesome, I feel amazing. Like, and they call that the pink cloud effect. Have you heard of this?
No.
It's like this like everything's amazing, you feel great, you're thinking like you've never thought before, your head is so clear because you've gotten all these drugs out of your life and you know whatever, the alcohol's gone and all that stuff, and now you can really feel good. But what happens is eventually that fades away and it's gone, and that little dopamine you're getting from that is gone, and that's where a lot of people go back to the alcohol, and in your case like overeating again or whatever. So it's like you have to somehow, it's so difficult to get rid of any addiction, and yeah, and I'm just gonna say the challenge is still on the table. Every pound that you lose, I will gain.
You will gain my weight.
I will happily gain the weight, and you can see the shift live on this pod.
Shifts, like, because I've made some healthy changes. Like, I walk more now with my dog and everything, and I eat a little healthier. But it's like, I don't know. It's those sustainable big swings. They don't come from small changes.
No, big changes.
They come from like very big. Like you're committing to having done it multiple times. It comes from like you have to commit to. Like last time I did it, it was X miles every day. It was 6 miles a day. I did the math. If I did 6 miles every day and I ate exactly 2,000 calories, I would lose X amount of weight per week. And if I kept it up, it's all a math problem.
And I got to ask you, how hungry are you all the time when you're just eating 2,000 calories?
Oh, it's awful.
You must feel how you did it? Going mad. You must go mad.
You know how you take care of that? Coffee.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
black coffee.
You just like you punch people.
No, you black coffee. It reduces your appetite.
Why is it always got to be racial?
I drank a lot of black people. I drank a lot of black coffee. That helps out a lot. It's an appetite suppressant. So like I would eat a small breakfast. I would walk 6 miles. I would come back. I would work. I would, walk again at lunchtime just to add in a couple more steps. And then I would basically eat a small meal at the end of the day, but I was drinking black coffee all day, probably up until like 6 o'clock, just to kind of reduce. And then you just go to bed hungry. And over time you get used to it, but it's not sustainable too. Like you have to have a more sustainable, like it's better to lose a bunch of weight over a couple of years than it is like a month or a summer. Because that stuff is hard. Like when you plan it out that way, it's tough and it's not sustainable because you can only do it for. I only did it for like a month and a half. I lost like 100 pounds, but
in a month and a half,
like a summer, 3 months. But like I lost I remember I lost, was it 40 pounds or something within about a month because it's water weight. It's a lot of water weight when you're walking that much.
Mm-hmm.
But I have it all in a fitness calendar and
if you
on a Fitbit. But
if you want to get thin, I'm here to support your journey. And guess what? If you get thin, I'm not going to like you anymore, and I'm going to find new ways to make fun of you.
New ways to hate me.
Not to hate.
No,
there's no hate.
It's weird to get vulnerable here, but I was thinking too, I'm not going for losing weight. I'm really going for feeling more flexible and feeling stronger. I'm lifting more.
Do you want to do?
Because I just want to feel stronger and I want to feel healthier. So it's kind of the routine I'm going for. I'm not really. That's the different approach I'm taking right now because I don't think I don't really care about my looks or anything. Like, it's just like getting to a point where I feel stronger.
Well, let's just say next episode, Moki time, and everyone after that, when he gets more flexible, we'll be doing the episode in a new position in the Karma Sutra.
Yeah.
And this has been Moki time.
Butthole out.